They give you free famous cookies. That's why I give the blood, believe me. What an honor. What an honor to be asked to come and speak for just a short time on this amazing era we're seeing unfolding in America. Now, as I look around the room, I see many people of a similar generation. We're a generation of people who, quite frankly, even though much has been said about the baby boomers' footprint, and I think there's probably, if there's anybody under 30, I know they're tired of it. But we're all, most of us, when I look around the room, frankly, brothers and sisters, sons or daughters, or grandchildren of men and women who've been called the greatest generation. So much of those twinkling lights behind us and the fruits that we enjoy tonight were born of the generation that went without their youth, who went to war to preserve the freedoms we have enjoyed so much. And when you think about it, what we're looking at now is a time in America where there's a great potential for a new great generation. 80 million strong, represented tonight by men and women who are at the very forefront, almost, if you will, the Normandy of nonprofits. The first wave on the beach of people who are just now at this very point of an army of people who will no doubt, be looking for a very, very different way to live their lives. This generation has a very special obligation. Not just the freedoms that we have enjoyed, but quite frankly with our own ears, many of us with our own eyes, some with our own hands. We heard Dr. King, John Lennon, Barbara Jordan, Marvin Gaye. With our own ears, we heard them. We saw them. We have an obligation, and that's what we're here to explore. That's what we're here to celebrate. It's this beginning of a generation, almost, if you will, a prodigal generation. Many of us look back and wonder, and we've heard books, Bowling Alone. Something happened in the Americas. I've always been true. I was 10 years old and living in Los Angeles when Bobby Kennedy was killed, 2 months after Dr. King. And I've often felt that our generation, after that very pivotal summer, our generation went off on a different road. And 40 years, literally, we've been in a wilderness of sorts, trying to find our way back to the garden. You all are leading us there. The people we celebrate tonight are men and women who have discovered in very small pockets of America, everyday corners, simple fruits, simple actions that are opening the doorway to a bold new way that we can all live together. Obviously, what we heard today is men and women who care deeply about children, about elders, about their community. But each one spoke about this larger us, this larger sense of community. And that's what's so beautiful about what we're exploring with social innovation. What's amazing is just as we are at the spear point of a generation that will be redefining age, we are also witnessing another 80 million strong generation, only now coming into their college age. 80 million strong, a younger generation who, mark my words, look to you for guidance. They do not want to separate their lives the way we did. We were a generation that had the luxury of working here, praying there, sending checks over there. This is a generation coming that looks, if I may generalize, looks to a way to almost merge their spirituality, their lifestyle, and their income, saying in effect, I don't want you to be defined by my paycheck. I need to earn money. I cannot work for nothing. But I want to find a job that not only doesn't do harm, but actually does good. And that is a bold vision. And that is the doorway that we're talking about going through right now. Social enterprise, this idea that everybody has a role. We've passed that era where we can just feed the poor. We've passed that era, where we basically divide our societies up. Where we're looking at and what we're celebrating tonight is a reintegration of America. I got to tell you, when you think about James, my new business partner, James, the notion that James has got to go out and beg for money to keep people out of prison, to keep his community whole, to save money. I got to tell you, brothers and sisters, I have long since let go of left, right, wrong, good, bad. I do smart, dumb. I do smart, dumb. And what we're celebrating tonight is smart business for America. This isn't just good deeds. Again, this is a whole new way of thinking. And what we're exploring now is can we as a society move beyond the whole rigidity, if you will, of .com, .org. Think about it. We're having 80 million young men and women fully baptized in community service. You realize 90% of college freshmen in every single university, 90% of the freshman class has been raised doing community service. By the time most graduate, this generation will have performed between 5 and 10 years of community service. Yet, on graduation day, we say to them, now you must choose. Do you want to make money, or do you want to do good deeds? They refuse to accept that, just as the Purpose Prize celebrants tonight have refused. What they recognize and what we should fully embrace is this integration, this notion that you can link profit and purpose, meaning and money. In fact, we should really realize that anything short of that hasn't worked. And we've tried almost everything in America but working together. And that's what we're coming back to after these 40 years. After these 40 years. This is an amazing time. And I got to be honest with you, I am so honored, as I think we all are. I mean, I got to be honest with you, for any of you all who haven't got into the speaking business, check the contract. If you're speaking at a vineyard and you're the last one on the night, it's going to be a long night. But it has afforded me the opportunity to see a room full of people happy as larks. I've been watching you all night long, and I've been just amazed by the conversations. Watching the room as people smile at each other, watching people's faces light up as they hear these stories. It's been a breathtaking night to observe. And I got to tell you, I'm going to have a drink as soon as I sit down. But what we're starting tonight and what we will finish over the next few days is a beginning of something amazing. And we should really, truly stop and recognize what we're witnessing together here tonight and what we'll continue to see unfold. This is the beginning of a very new discussion in America. And what we must rapidly move into is how do we integrate what these bold leaders have been discovering in their small corners, their small outposts, and really make sure we understand that there's a younger generation hungry for this kind of lifestyle. They do not want to wait for their encore career. They want it right now. And if we're smart, if we're bold, if we're brave, we will begin to do intergenerational work and really help a younger generation do this right now. There are times in America's history where we have stopped and paused, and this is one of them. And it's tempting, I know, to think, boy, it's a rough time in America. But what we saw tonight is evidence that our country has never been richer. Richer in resources that are right here in front of us, whether it's children, whether it's our elders, whether it's men and women out of prison, people we've marginalized, a generation of people. Do you realize we are dipping, what we're talking about tonight is dipping the first little drip of water out of the deepest well of life experience in the history of the planet. What the baby boomers represent, and America's thirsty. America's thirsty. Man, you and I love you, my brother. I tell you what, America is thirsty. And what we're looking at is a deep, beautiful well of cool water that represents, again, the deepest well of life experience in the history of the planet. Imagine what this country can be like. Look at what we've revealed. And what a joy to be here to celebrate. Thank you all very, very much.